Melissa Deely here, back for day 6 of my series on hormones. And as an integrative health practitioner, one of the areas that I focus on a lot in this day and age are people's stress levels. The world is actually the most stressed out it's ever been, and that was even before COVID happened. And what happens is we look around and we see everybody else stressed out and we normalize it and think it's okay. But it's not, because stress on our body can have very debilitating effects. And today I want to be talking about the effect of that stress within our body in terms of the production of cortisol, one of our hormones. And cortisol, we need cortisol. We need cortisol to get us up and moving in the morning. What we don't want is to be just having cortisol charging through our body all the time because we're stuck in chronic stress. So the way we want cortisol to look is we want it to be peaking in the morning and then slowly going down through the day. And as I've mentioned in previous Facebook Lives, cortisol and melatonin are inverse hormones. So when we're starting to get ready for bed, we want our cortisol to be dipping so that our melatonin can be increasing in order to help us get into a good, deep sleep. And the cortisol slowly goes down through the day. So as I said, in the morning it's peaking, and that's what gets us up and going for our day and giving us energy to get started. And then by lunchtime, our cortisol's dropped to about half of our morning level. And then by evening to dinner time, it's dropped to half again of that. And then by bedtime, it's dropped right down nice and low so that our melatonin can start being produced. And we can certainly test for hormone levels to see if our rhythms are out of sync with where they should be due to the constant stress that we encounter in our daily lives. And then use some adaptogenic natural herbal supplements to help your body come back into balance and get into a nice diurnal rhythm, which is what I'm talking about there with melatonin rising at night and cortisol dipping, and then melatonin dropping off around 4 a.m. and cortisol starting to rise again. We do that through saliva testing, really easy to do, and we test 4 times during the day because we want to see that pattern. And so I just want to talk today, because cortisol is a big topic and I'm going to talk about it a few times, but today I just want to be talking about how you feel when cortisol is at a high level in your body, which happens often, or when it's at a low level in our body. Sometimes we can go right through that high level where we actually feel really energized and we think we're doing awesome, but the stress is just fueling it and pumping that cortisol through our body. And if we don't deal with it, we can end up in burnout. And that's when the body can no longer even produce enough cortisol to get us up and going. And so we feel really fatigued. But first of all, just starting with high levels of cortisol, what you might be seeing or experiencing are feeling wired or tired. So super wired during the day, tired at night, but possibly still not able to get into good sleep because there's still too much cortisol in your body in the evening for your body to be making melatonin. You may have high blood sugar levels and high blood pressure. So we know that stress can trigger high blood pressure, and that may be something that you're dealing with. And of course, insomnia coming from not producing melatonin and too much cortisol to have any produced overnight, and you just lie awake. And I know that sucks to be in that place, because then you start stressing about, I need to sleep because I have so much to do tomorrow, and you just start to create this perpetual cycle. Decreased libido, I've talked about that before. When we're under high stress, our body is trying to be in that fight or flight and get you to safety, and is creating energy to the limbs and the ability to think to get somewhere safely. It's not thinking about digestion, and it is certainly not thinking about procreation. Therefore, decreased libido, as well as erectile dysfunction, go hand in hand there. Weight gain, particularly in people that are a more solid body type, they're going to experience more weight gain with cortisol levels at a higher level in their body. Or a rapid weight loss. So for that person that's naturally very slim, under high stress, they're not going to be able to hold on to weight, and they might be losing weight that they don't want to be losing. as well as water retention can happen with high cortisol, especially if somebody's using pharmaceutical drugs at the time that they're under this high stress, as well as weakened immunity. So high stress just breaks down our immune system significantly and makes you more susceptible to whatever cold or flu or whatever other virus is going around. And then it also may act as an appetite suppressant. So when we're really stressed, we just are in this place of overwhelm, can't think straight, and don't really feel like eating. And then when we do eat, we may not be making the best choices of food because perhaps we haven't had the time to prepare a healthy, nutritious meal for ourselves. Now, on the flip side of this is symptoms of low cortisol. And so that's fatigue, particularly in the morning, having a hard time getting up, getting out of bed, getting started for your day. Brain fog, poor memory, again, insomnia. So whenever our cortisol levels are out of balance, it just messes with our whole sleep cycle. And when we lose sleep, we really struggle to function properly because sleep is so absolutely critical to our human survival and our optimal function. During our sleep cycle, we are actually paralyzed for a portion of it. And if we go way back to the beginning of time in our hunter-gatherer days, and we literally could have been hunted by lions and tigers and other mammals looking for food, the fact that the body, for a very short amount of time in each sleep cycle through the night, had us completely paralyzed in order to get our deepest and most restorative level of sleep as quickly as possible, that is so profound because there were real dangers, and yet our body needed it so badly that evolution had, created that sleep pattern for us. And so it shows just how important sleep is. That's 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep every night. And many of us just aren't getting that. And we get into these cycles of coffee and sugar and high stress that impact our sleep. And then in order to get us out of those cycles, we have to start creating some habits to be lowering our stress. And sometimes that's easier said than done. We can't do it just on our own because our body is too far out of balance and too stressed out. And that's where herbal remedies and adaptogens can come in really handy. And knowing exactly where your hormones are out of balance. Is it at lunchtime? Is it in the morning? Is it at bedtime? So we can offer the right herbal supplement for the right time of day to bring your body back into its natural cortisol and melatonin rhythm. So other symptoms of low cortisol are potentially craving sugar and salt. Again, decreased libido and erectile dysfunction, because when the body's out of balance, again, not thinking about procreation, it's instead thinking about how do I get back into balance. There can be weight gain or rapid weight loss again, anxiety, overwhelm, and irritability, so it is impacting our mood. There can be bone loss as well, so that's really important, particularly for women. We need to be protecting the strength of our bones and not experiencing bone loss, as well as a poor response to exercise or even an exercise intolerance, flu-like symptoms, and then unchecked inflammation in the body. So again, no one of these symptoms is going to say, oh, I have that one, that must mean I have high or low cortisol. But if you have several on either of these lists, it may be something that you want to look into, because if you have several of these symptoms, you have been feeling off or not feeling yourself. And you're probably wondering what's going on and why. And so this might start to give you some insight as to what might be going on. And you might want to look into this further. And if you would like to do that, you can always reach out to me via my website and simply go to betterbrainhealth.info and click on the tab at the top of the page, work with me, and book a complimentary 30-minute consult so that we can figure out where you're at. You can get to know me and figure out if I'm the right person to be helping you start to resolve the hormone issues that you are experiencing. So I'll be back to talk more about cortisol in a couple days, but just wanted to get you started on this really important topic that is affecting so many people right now.